Hey guys, Dory Peterson, Rebel Food Nurse. This video is going to be a little bit about vitamin D deficiency. I'm going to give you some statistics on what we're looking at in this country as far as vitamin D deficiency. Talk a little bit about the importance of it and just why we're so vitamin D deficient. Now, vitamin D is a hormone, and it is something that you get literally 90% of your body's production of vitamin D is coming directly from the sun. So I'm going to give you some statistics on vitamin D deficiency, and this is coming from Harvard University. This isn't coming from me. But 70% of white people, 90% of Latinos, and 97% of Black people have vitamin D deficiency in this country. Now, we've also got severe vitamin D deficiency in even children. And that's even children under a year old. They're already vitamin D deficient. Now, why? So first, I want to talk a little bit about vitamin D helps absorb calcium. It literally also targets more than 2,000 genes inside your body, which leads to health. These are genes that affect health and development, such as the heart, the brain, the liver, your muscles, and your bones. Of course, vitamin D helps calcium absorption. And so without that, we're not absorbing calcium like we need to for good, for bone density and for bone health. And we know that osteoporosis, especially for females getting older, is a huge, huge risk and challenge. Now, so more than 90% of the vitamin D that your body is going to make is going to come directly from sun exposure. So did you know that 20 to 30 minutes of direct sun exposure per day allows your body to make over 10,000 IUs of vitamin D? 10,000 IUs. 20 to 30 minutes of direct sun exposure every single day. Now, why do we have this deficiency? Why is everyone so deficient? Here's the reason why. Because we are putting sunscreen on every single time we walk out the door, or we're exposed to any amount of sun. So we're not able to absorb. We're not getting, this is such an important hormone. It's important for weight release. It's important for brain development. So many, vitamin D, the manufacturing of the body of vitamin D to supply all of these different target organs in our body that helps those organs stay healthy, that gives us mental clarity, that helps us fight cancer. It's a proven fact that the majority of people that are even checked, when their vitamin D levels are checked and they're cancer patients, the majority of those people, their vitamin D levels are terrible. They're low. And we don't want to be on the lower end of the vitamin D level ever. We want to be on the higher end, which means that we've got to be getting direct sun exposure every day without sunscreen. Sunscreen is blocking the vitamin D absorption into our bodies, which we need to maintain health. We need that vitamin D absorption. We need our body to be able to manufacture that, to turn it into the hormone necessary to supply our vital organs what they need. It's a hormone. And when we're not getting what we need, we're hormonally imbalanced. That massively affects the ability to be able to release body fat as well. And the truth is, the majority of this country, I just read you the statistics, the majority of this country is D deficient. Therefore, they're already, and that's just one hormone, they're already hormonally imbalanced. So the reason for it is really the dermatology industry. So the dermatology industry over the past several decades has been saying that we're having increasing amounts of melanoma and increasing amounts of skin cancer, basically mostly melanoma, which is the very malignant cancer. Melanoma is a very dangerous, aggressive cancer. Now, there's a few things, though, that you need to consider. This is my personal take, and this is my advice to you. Number one, we need to be getting 20 to 30 minutes of sun exposure every single day for our health period without sunscreen on. And that means that, you need to just go sit in the sun. You don't have to expose your face, but you need to sit in the sun with shorts on, a short sleeve shirt, or a tank top on. Let your body absorb the sun. Now, the dermatology industry is stating, and no one's challenging this either, they're stating that they're seeing an increase in melanomas. However, sunscreen, the majority of sunscreen that's out there is absolutely full of chemicals. Full. And we're already vitamin D deficient. We're already over intoxicated, really, with toxic chemicals. So we're slathering and smearing toxic chemicals all over our body that block the vital need of vitamin D that we need. We're short that, and that is really leading us to have cancer. Think about it. We're already in a country where our food system's very broken. We're already eating so many chemicals. Then we're taking what's supposed to be healthy, which is general sun exposure, and we're blocking our sun absorption. We're blocking our vitamin D absorption by smearing more chemicals that our skin is absorbing all over our body. It doesn't make sense. It only makes sense because you have a dermatology association that's screaming that there's this big, massive increase in melanomas. And the only way to combat that is everybody to start using more sunscreen. So if everybody was aware and really using more sunscreen, wouldn't you think that melanoma rate would be declining, not increasing? Just a question. They've never been challenged on this. And so the other thing is that it's proven that the majority of melanomas are found where sun exposure, you're really not getting very much sun exposure to your body. The majority of melanomas are found where you're not getting sun exposure. So there's a little bit of discrepancy in all of that. Something to consider: if there's truly a rise in melanoma, which really is debatable, the real causes could be, and most likely are, the real causes are a very toxic diet on top of, and I'm talking all trans fats, refined sugars, the typical sad American diet. Our bodies don't even have the ability to fight any type of cancer or immune system issues or disease, period, because we are living on a very toxic diet. The majority of this country, they're living on the SAD diet, the standard American diet, which is refined carbohydrates, trans fats, fast food. We're not even getting nutrition in our bodies to help us fight these types of things. We're not getting enough sleep. We're not getting exercise. It's a proven fact that 5% of this country exercises on a regular basis. 5%. The other thing is that it's also a proven fact. This is proven that those people who are exercising, they have at least double the chance of fighting, even if they currently have cancer. They have been diagnosed with cancer. The chances of them overcoming that cancer and their survival rate is increased by 50% if they're exercising on a regular basis. That's astounding. That's just a statistic with exercise alone. That doesn't include the nutritional component. So what are the answers? The answers are not smearing sunscreen, toxic chemical sunscreen all over our bodies and our children. We need vitamin D absorption. This is so vital for our health. It affects so many different organ systems in our whole body, including our skin. Our skin's the biggest organ in our whole body, and yet we're coating it in toxic chemicals, thinking that is preventing us from cancer, when really it's actually subjecting us to cancer because of the things that I just told you about. it's literally, we're just literally lacing ourselves in toxic chemicals. We're preventing our bodies from absorbing that vitamin D, which this is a hormone in our body, and it leads us to a lot more disease. Vitamin D deficiency is linked to tons of disease, including high amounts of cancer. So the real cancer risk is not using sunscreen. The real cancer risk is lacking and having low levels of vitamin D, because we're not getting out in the sun, and because when we are getting out in the sun, we're lathering ourselves in toxic chemicals. So I wanted to share that with you. What are the answers? You can go to, and you can download this on your phone. EWG, Environmental Working Group, is a great, very trusted source. You can go there and you can look for certain sunscreens that are not literally filled and laced with horrible, horrible toxic chemicals. There's an app you can download on your phone. You can go in through there. You can look up certain sunscreens. You can even order something from the internet, or you can find a store that has some of the EWG approved sunscreens. I would trust them more than any other sources. And so there are going to be times where you need to use sunscreen when you have prolonged exposure. You don't want to get burned. But there are also other sun safety things. There are hats, there are umbrellas. So these are things that we can use in order to help prevent those really bad sunburns. However, we can't keep preventing the sun absorption that we so desperately need for our health. This is a massive problem, and it's something that we must overcome as a society, especially for our children. Our children are suffering because they have low levels of vitamin D, along with a million other nutritional deficiencies. And there are kids that are even as young as 3 years old that are showing high cholesterol amounts simply because they're lacking nutrients and they're lacking vitamin D. So these things are things that we can overcome. I would suggest downloading that app from EWG and researching more toxic-free sunscreens, and really only using them when you've got prolonged sun exposure where you don't want to get that burn. But you absolutely need to be absorbing and stop blocking all of that sun exposure and absorbing that vitamin D so that your body can manufacture that hormone that it so desperately needs in order for you to stay healthy. Thank you for watching. If you find this helpful, like it, share it, and go download that app and start practicing better sun safety. It's not smearing horrible chemicals all over your body and avoiding the sun altogether. All right, you guys, thanks for joining me. Like it, share it, and post below if you have questions on it. Thanks so much.